toolbox. Exactly what it says. We've got screwdriver door hammers, chisels, sockets, everything you need. Every single one of them says Rescue 5 on it. Every single socket, every single everything. I don't need your applause. I don't need your applause. But it's fine if you want to.
If you really want to get him, just start swapping them around with stuff in the shop.
It won't work because it says Rescue 5 on it. Main things in here that aren't sort of self-explanatory. This is all really just hand tools. Up top here, our biggest targets are going to be our elevator keys. So this used to be one pouch, it's now two. Your keys, and then sort of other implements. So this is literal keys. This is your drop keys for your elevator doors, elevator door wedges that go down in the track and spin up, spin it and locks into the elevator door. Spark plug maintenance kits for the saws, more epoxy putty, extra spring punches, striker tips for the propane torch, electrical tape, extra step bit. So we just have a lot of miscellaneous stuff in here, and if it's something tiny and you can't find it elsewhere, take a look at the toolbox. The biggest target in there is definitely the elevator keys though, and it's not even close. Up here, I'm not going to go real in depth with these, but these are part of our Paratech strut setup. So our struts can be used really for two major things: stabilizing vehicles and stabilizing structures. Everything that you see in here, with the exception of a 1 in a million chance, because yeah, there's some chance that you could use them on a vehicle accident, is for structural collapse. So we have a box of these swivel bases, which are exactly what they sound like, swivel bases, and then flat bases that are, anchored just like that. There's also a few in there that are U-channels that are set up to fit a 4x4 post, and they're all for structural collapse. So again, what we're trying to do tonight is make sure everybody knows what this stuff is. No one's becoming a structural collapse technician tonight, but if we say, hey, we need structural collapse stuff, you're getting a bunch of struts and you're getting all this stuff. Here, I do really want to get into the Paratech struts, but it's tough to find a stock. So we're just going to brush over these and sort of show you our different setups. So back here, no one has to come back here. Back here we have 5 bags, 5 hydrant bags, and we have 10 struts. Each strut or each bag has a setup that is enough to accommodate 2 struts. So I come back here. The idea for this, and Todd and I sort of tested it when we were setting these up. Is it easy to carry 2 struts in a bag? I wouldn't say it's easy, but if we're on a vehicle accident and someone's trapped and your adrenaline's pumping a little, and I say get these from point A to point B, anybody in here is going to be able to do it, I promise. So the idea behind this is that we can get 1 bag, 2 struts, and we have everything we need. And 2 struts is really enough for one side of the vehicle, right? So let's say we're just stabilizing one side of the vehicle, like it's on its side, and we're just stabilizing the dirty side, the underside, or I'm sorry, the clean side, the top side of it. This is probably going to be enough for us. So opening up this bag, like I said, we've got a complement that is good for 2 struts. We've got a base plate, so our strut, and this is something that we're going to, probably one of our next trainings is going to be on just Paratechs and Paratech struts. So I'm not going to get real deep in the weeds, but there's a difference between these 2 pieces. It has a collar. Everyone see how it has a collar? It's a strut. If it's just a pipe, it's an extension. This does nothing but extend this. This does the work. This is the strut. This just extends it. So I have my strut extension combination. Slide this into my base here. If I want to, I can make sure my base is on there. Can you hold this up, Robert? I've got 2 tips in here. These are called multi-tips. They've got a 90 degree on there to catch onto a 90 degree surface. It could be metal, wood, whatever. They've also got these tips, just like our old rescue jacks. They had that thing we called the witch's hat, that tip that could go into a hole made by our step bit. So we put that on here, and this can act just like our old struts. Now, we have ratchet straps in here, and the other thing we have is these chain attachments. So the only way that we get this thing tight into where we're going is if it's holding on to something else, right? If I try to tighten this up into something and there's no ratchet strap holding it, it's just going to keep pushing back as long as it can. So, again, I keep saying it, but I'm not going to get too deep in the weeds, but in a multitude of different ways, I use this ratchet strap to secure myself to the vehicle or the structure that I'm trying to support. I have this chain adapter. This is the only thing that there's one of in each bag. So there's 2 plates, 2 straps, 2 tips, 1 chain adapter. So using my chain adapter and my strap, I would secure this to whatever it is I'm trying to stabilize. So let's say it's a vehicle. I might secure that in 2 places. I lift this up to as close to that vehicle as I can get it. I spin my collar down, and now when I give that 2 or 3 cranks, that's going to really cinch me in tight, and I'm stabilizing whatever it is that I want to stabilize. Make sense? So now the biggest difference between the Paratech, the 2 different types of struts we have is, we have 3 different types of struts. We have our gray struts, we have our gold struts, and finally we have our hydrofusion struts. So these black struts here are for lifting. Can you see any way that that can lift? That doesn't do any lifting. Aside from when I really cinch down that ratchet strap, yeah, sure, maybe I can lift something up an inch or 2, but it's not for lifting. That's not what that does. These hydrofusions can be paired with our struts, and these are what do our lifting. You can actually do that if you want. So these 2 hydrofusions for lifting struts are used to lift while these are used to shore. Okay? So I can start off here with my base plate, drop my hydrofusion into here. Again, that locked in, and then with quick connect. So I can just drop that right in and it'll lock in. We have 2 different struts here. They're the same thing. One is labeled with red tape, one is labeled with white tape. If they get intermixed, they're not going to blow up or anything, but the combination of this white strut and this white pump, and this red strut and this red pump, have a set level of fluid. If we over time, if we're swapping them back and forth, we might get more or less fluid in one of the pumps or one of the struts, and then it won't work the same way as the other set. So the white goes with the white, the red goes with the red. If it doesn't happen that way, just tell me, but no one's gonna, get fired. I guess you can't get fired, right? So the way this goes together, it's just a push connect. So I just push that together, just like every other hydraulic piece of equipment we've used tonight. We have a switch on the side here that's turned, so it's to the right, it's locked. Go ahead and pump that. Now this goes very slowly, but this now lifts. So this can lift up to 20 tons, 20,000 pounds, 10 tons. And this will be doing our lifting as our strut is short. So as we're lifting with this, we're spinning that collar up, that's taking the weight. Then once I lift something where I want to, I could actually let this back down, move this onto the next place. Needs a lot of pressure. Move this onto the next location, or just move it out altogether. And now my weight is down. Oops, I pinched my pants. Go ahead and pump it up. That's a first. Thank God it was just my pants, yeah.
Now that would be a rescue.
That would be a rescue. That would be a new one.
We don't have any tools that small.
So again, I just want everybody to understand what the difference between these things are.
One thing to quick add, because I was part of the script once, when we're shoring with the gray or the gold, we can attach back to the vehicle and tighten that all up. If we're going to be lifting, we cannot attach that base back to the vehicle we're lifting, where it's just going to kind of monkey everything around. And, you know, it worked for us, but it wasn't right.
So does everybody understand the difference between these things? Now, let's say we have something super high that I need to lift. This strut can be paired with, can you give me the extension there? Can be paired with the extensions. And then for that, I need these tips. So these are always kept on these hydrofusion struts. We have the equivalent for the gold struts. Yeah, got it. We have the equivalent for the gold struts stored in this box here. Same thing, it's just this adapter. And this can be paired here by putting that in there, putting this in here, and now I can fit a tip onto this. So,
does your rating change then because you added a lesser?
Is this still?
no, so this actually is the weakest of all. So all of these have a 60,000 pound lifting capacity, or I'm sorry, stabilization capacity at a 2-to-1 safety factor. This is the only thing that lifts, and this is rated at only 10 tons. So the lifting capacity of anything we have here is less than that of the stabilization capacity. Now there's a rule with these. Again, this is going to get way into stabilization, but I'll just mention this one rule real quick. We have a 3-2-1 rule. We can use a total of 3 feet of extension. So that could be a 2-foot and a 1-foot, or a 3-footer. But we can't use more than 2 extensions in one system. So can I use a 1-foot and a 2-foot together?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 total extensions and it's 3 feet. Can I use 3 1-footers? No, because now we have too many points where that's just adding extra elbows in that, and it doesn't make the system happy. In a pinch, yeah, I could probably use 3 1-foot sections and it's not going to split. Yes, so good question. In the back here we have 12 tubes. 10 of those tubes are occupied by these setups. We have, and all of these setups are 5 feet. There's 5 setups that are 2-foot struts with 3-foot extensions, and there are 5 setups that are 3-foot struts with a 2-foot extension. The other, there's one empty tube back here, and then the 11th tube is filled with this stack of 1-foot extensions. So this is sort of just like a puzzle that we can build to best suit whatever vehicle or structure we've come up on. And we sort of build our way into that. So, you know, if I'm trying to stabilize something that's right here, I just built my way pretty damn close to it, and now I just barely got to pump it to get where I want. So we use these tools to, something we'll work on this fall. But if you could figure out the rescue jacks that we used to have, the yellow ones, this is a breeze. This is very intuitive compared to what we were using before.
I think the big thing to get at is if we ask for, we need the struts, it's bags and struts.
Right, correct. That's so, and you know, not to pick on anybody, but if somebody just finished engine per and we have 7 seats on, 7 people in the rescue, and there's 1 extra guy on there, well, I'm gonna pick the engine person to start running stuff. And if I told them, hey, give me a strut, and they came back with a strut and no bag, would I be annoyed at the time? Yeah, probably, but can I really be mad at them? No, because you guys don't know that. So just know that when we're asking for equipment, all the stuff that we've set up tonight sort of comes in a package. You know, an air tool means the tool in a cylinder. Struts means the strut in a bag. Lifting struts means the lifting strut, maybe an extension in the bag. So just keep that in mind. These are all sort of package deals. Very few tools work by themselves and with absolutely nothing else.
Also remember that all the engines and the quint have struts. Alright, so if we did something big sometime, when you're arriving on the scene, I need your manpower and all your struts. Okay, or if you're leaving like the Colwood station to go somewhere, don't forget, like, you might need to bring the struts off the engine, throw them on the quint, or vice versa, and not let the other set behind. Okay? Yeah, we still have 1 tube back there. We need to buy something for in.
You're over capacity.
That's just what he wanted to hear.
Yeah. So
I'll be able to steer
it's a
it.
hard no.
Last thing in here,
He's leaving.
Yeah.
Phone for you.
Last thing in the back, cribbing. We've redone all of our cribbing, or sort of how we store it. We used to have Well, when I went through rescue purchase 5-6 years ago, it was none of these orange bags. Then we had 2, then we had 4. Now we have 8 of these orange bags. Everything is in these orange bags. They're designed so that they have, and there's actually, Andy, I'm so proud of them. I'm just, sorry. I'm blushing. There's labels with what's on each shelf. So this says each pack contains 4 2x4 by 18 blocks, 4 4x4 by 18 blocks, and then 2 of each wedge. So each of these packs are built the same, and what each of these packs can do is build up to a 14-inch tall cribbing stack on a corner of a car. So theoretically, we get to a vehicle, it's a sedan, nothing, no jacked up truck or anything like that. 4 of these bags, 1 on each corner, is going to be more than enough. We might even get away with a bag on each side. So we set these up because, yeah, they're heavy, but if you get 2 of these bags and you can lug them over to the car that's probably 30 to 50 feet away, then you just brought all the cribbing over that we probably need for the entire incident. So anybody who's not going to be participating in the rescue, stabilization is the first thing that we do on any vehicle rescue, except for hazard assessment and some other administrative or operational things. We're always going to be stabilizing. So cribbing is always something you can be grabbing, and just keep that in mind. At least 1 of these per side, if not 1 of these per corner. And we have them set up in 8 like bags in there now. On the top shelf, we do still have some bigger 4-foot long cribbing. We do still have some packs of just additional wedges, additional 4x4s, that type of thing. But mainly it's been concentrated into 8 of these orange bags. Questions on anything down here? Last thing we have in here, farm jack. I don't want to say that we don't use these because we were going over using them in April at Rescue Pert, and then they used them that night to get somebody out from underneath the vehicle. So, farm jacks are a high lift jack. We went from 4 of them to 2 of them. We had 4 up until 2 years ago. Realized we don't really use them that much, but they still have their purpose. So these are used by getting it up to wherever you want, height-wise, and then
Pull it up. Pull the lever up.
Pull up on this lever.
There you go.
And that engages it, and then I can crank this and move that jack up. To reverse it,
Has to have weight on it, but if you take that off,
that's
it'll,
not-
yeah, there you go. Now,
huh?
have somebody put their hand on
I
it.
was gonna say, I think I have to click push.
Now snap it down.
So that, and then I can move it back down. I can also crank it down.
If you have enough weight on it,
Oh right, if you
it'll
have enough
go-
weight on it, then when I come back this way, I can crank it down by reversing this lever.
Yeah, you can let it
So-
down slow. It's a giant bumper jack.
Right. So these still have their purpose. Don't use them as much, but I can't say we don't use them. This is something that we might be able to get out, and rather than setting up a bunch of equipment, I go and throw this under a car, get a bag of cribbing ready, and this woman was laying long ways underneath a vehicle that had fallen on her. They used this, lifted up real quick, and drug her out. Does it defeat some things that textbooks tell you gotta do? Sure, it might, but does it get the job done and no one gets hurt? Yeah. So we pared down from 4 to 2, but they still have their place. So that's the farm. Can you push that?
just snap it down. It should just go straight.
I can put my chain binder in the middle by grabbing on here, by grabbing on here, and then however much slack I have in there. Actually, give me a little bit more slack. So I have all that slack. Picture this could be anywhere from a foot of slack to 40 feet of slack. I have all that slack in there. This is working like a ratchet strap. Oops, sorry.
Right? You wanna?
Now I got it twisted. No.
You can also turn it by hand too. to
Yeah,
get-
actually, I'll just turn it by hand. So I can put this in 3 different positions. I can put it in a forward, backward, or free spin. So I can start off, this sleeve in the middle here, actually, Cliff, you want to stand back here a little more? This sleeve in the middle here, what this is doing is it's allowing these two threaded rods that are attached to these hooks to either come in or come out. So this is stored with these threaded rods totally out. So now what I'm doing is I'm moving these threaded rods in by twisting this, and it's pulling this hook tighter on each side. So even though I've got, say, between 1 and 50 feet of slack here, I'm making this chain however long I want it just by using this device. Now I can spin it down by hand to get most of my slack out. Once that's done and I really have to start gripping on it, then I would twist my lever, and this is now acting like a ratchet strap. And I'm cinching this up. So we might tie two cars together to do this. We could use this to secure a car that's kind of going over an embankment or something like that. You know, we want to secure it back to the rescue or some anchor point. But basically what this does is this thing's only 2.5 feet long, and it can turn any length of chain into whatever length of chain we want. So it just binds that chain together. Make sense? So it's sort of a, I don't want to say a version of a come along, it's similar to one, but it's got different uses, and it's very versatile for us. All right, questions on that?